So, one other question. Did, I need a cornerstone. Did somebody as AA resign to go to war? Why do I have a memory that...
John J. Kuhn.
Yes, that's who his name's ringing a bell.
And what happened, I don't know that he resigned. When the U.S. entered World War I, are we taping? When the U.S. entered World War I, they had a war conference at John J. Kuhn's Long Island bungalow. And they sat, I think, out on the yard in a circle of chairs. And every member of the XX resigned their position because they expected to go to war. And they went around and they asked, all right, who can be AA? And they went around the whole circle, and everyone, including John J. Kuhn, refused to be AA because they expected to be in Europe. And they went a second time, and they all declined again, and they turned to John J. Kuhn and said, "You're older than the rest of us. You're not going to go to war. You need to be the AA." So he said, okay. And 4 months later, he was an artillery officer in Europe. Now, I don't know if he resigned or not. I want to say they just put everything on hold because pretty much all our chapters had shut down because we had many chapters that would go to the recruiting office and enlist en masse. That happened, Wisconsin did that in World War II. And I think the entire chapter, except for maybe one or two, died in World War II. But World War I, where am I? Okay. John J. Kuhn. Now, John J. Kuhn, there's a funny story. We were talking about the Kuhn Award, announcing it at a board meeting, and Hauser was announcing it, and he called it the Kuhn Award. And Bill Williams, being black, did a double take on that. We had a Kuhn Award. Hauser broke up laughing, and from that point forward, we called it the John J. Kuhn Award. There's a piece of trivia for you. Well, he was pro-law, and when we went general, he sided with the pro-law. When we went general, first of all, Roger Steffen, Jim Steffen's older brother, was editor of the Quarterly, and I'll tell some more about him downstairs in the convention photo room. Started using the Quarterly to champion going general. Upset the pro-law guys greatly. And John J. Kuhn was the main donor to the Cornell house, the one we have now on the knoll. We always talk about on the knoll. Well, that house didn't exist until around 1915, 16, right in there. And John J. Kuhn donated $5,000. Doesn't sound like much today, but in 1915, that was a lot of money. I think the whole house cost $40,000. They did, by the way, a structural analysis of all the fraternity and sorority houses on the campus. And the structural engineer said that the Delta Chi house was the best built house on the campus. So they put some money into it. Well, John J. Kuhn really was mad at Roger Steffen and the fraternity going general, and he was behind, I believe, taking the chapter house and gifting it to the university as a house for honor students in law school. It was to be restricted to honor students in law school. So the university accepted the gifts, and we went nuts. And by the way, they designed the architectural plans for the replacement house is in the basement. We have the architectural plans for the house that was never built. And the local alumni ended up buying back the house from the university. And we loaned money out of, I believe, our endowment fund at the time to help buy the house back. And the local alumni said it was a gift. And OK Patton and Henry McGurran went nuts. They said, no, it was a loan. Now, I don't understand how lawyers could send money thinking it was a loan without signing a contract, especially since OK Patton was professor of contract law. So that amazes me. So to close the story on that, they end up supposedly settling in the 70s for 10 cents on the dollar and no interest accrued. So we helped save the Cornell house. Now, at 1990, at the centennial, Kevin Costner came. That's his first wife. He gave a great speech. It was very, he praised the international officers for all we did to help promote Delta Chi. I asked him if we could use excerpts from that, and he said no. He said it wasn't professionally shot, and he didn't want it out. So we have a copy of the tape, but we can't show it. We can't put it out in public. I don't know how he'd feel today, but in any case. So that's the centennial. Now let's see what else is on the wall. Oh, my favorite composites are this style. It's kind of an informal grouping. You can't do that with a 90-man chapter. Not very easily, at least. But I always liked that style of composite. And for the centennial, Julie Autohelm, Larry's wife, who's a great artist, did sketches of architectural features around the campus. And then they used, and she did one of the Iowa house, and in the trees and every place else was, names, our founders' names, Larry's name, other national officer names, and so on. And she probably did some, she put, like scales of justice where they weren't on the architecture in the sketches she did. So there's one of them. Oh, and there's Walter Kuhn's plaque. And if you look at it, if you can see close, the martlets have feet. There's a white carnation in the middle of the delta. I believe it says on the back, I'm not having luck at getting it. There it is. Walter Kuhn. Oh, and there's a note from Walter to me. Let me see if I can read it. Pursuant to your recent email, I am enclosing plaque belonging to my father, which was prominently displayed in this law office at 115 Broadway, New York, New York. Please feel free to utilize this plaque in any manner that you choose. I would also like to inform you that John J. Kuhn was Walter R. Kuhn's older brother. So this is from, so John J. was his uncle.